Hi, this is Erika Molyneux, and I'm going to explain how I address interaction in different ways in my Intro to Digital Drawing Asynchronous course. So this is my homepage here, and I'm going to talk about this in terms of tools and how it fits parts of the different guidelines. So first there's the announcements tool, which I use primarily for Guideline 5.3 for interaction between instructor and student, or at least meaning part of that. And you'll see I give feedback announcements with general feedback. Sometimes I'll link videos too. I will also always give my information and remind them how to contact me more specifically, email, call, text, or my regular Zoom office hours. I also have reminder emails at the beginning of each week or announcements. These also email to their Gmail. And I do send a reminder email that's similar to this on Fridays right before their due dates. Okay, and then sometimes I'll send announcements when I'm in my office hour just to remind them I'm actively there, and also about extra credit activities. Okay, the next tool I want to talk about is the syllabus. You'll see that it's one of my first modules here. I've already opened it in another page. The module itself has also a syllabus quiz and a Padlet where they can ask questions they still have over the syllabus and get those answered by me. In addition to just all the required things that we have in class, for 5.1, instructor interaction and feedback, in my classes area, I explain how the class is divided into modules, when due dates are, when to expect feedback from me. I have a grade breakdown by activities and how they're graded, how to submit work, late work that's accepted. Also for 5.2 student interaction, there's things like etiquette, grade improvement. Here's communicating with instructor for 5.1 and when I promise to reply to them if they reach out to me. For both students and me, there's etiquette and diversity statements that we abide by to create a safe learning environment, academic dishonesty, AI guidelines. And then down here at the bottom, we have understanding course expectations, which explicitly spells out the things they should do to succeed in class and communicate well. And so that should be understood from the rest of the syllabus, but sometimes isn't. And finally, a timeline for the rest of the course. Also, going back to our homepage, you'll see there's areas for emailing me, instant messaging me, and we already talked about announcements. I also send out an intelligent agent notice, a message about every 4 weeks that will reach out to students whose grades are suffering and also give kudos to those who are doing really well. Okay, for assignments, all my assessments mostly are in this assignments area, including my discussions, which are formatted as Padlet discussion posts, not the Lamaku discussion posts. I have a few quizzes in here, but so mostly everything can be accessed here, as well as directly in the weekly modules. So this is an example of the week 1 module. I have this first page that I don't have time to go into here, but always with every module, it shows the learning outcomes for the week, introduces the content, and gives the timeline and items due for the week. Here you'll see I had a learner's needs survey, reaching out to students for that. I always have a resources web page that has videos I've made and different curated and created resources that will help them complete all their assessments for the week. Here you can see there's that Padlet we talked about. We'll talk about more of that later. And here's where all the other assignments are located too. Okay, so assignment introductions and discussions, instructions, those meet 5.1, 5.2, 5.3, and 5.6. We'll talk about those in a little bit. This is an exercise example. All of my assignment directions and assessment directions are pretty much formatted as Google Docs that can be linked and updated and across all my courses. They have a rubric, so exercises are very simple as long as they try to follow directions. It doesn't have to be perfect. They'll get credit, but there's step-by-step instructions, screenshots, sometimes examples, and extra demos, and then there's a walkthrough video. This is an example of a Padlet instruction. So this is linked as a post in the Padlet because it would take up too much room at the top of the Padlet page. And you'll see it has a rubric for how to get points for both their initial post and response, when to post and when to respond by, and again, directions for how to do that and what specific questions to answer, how they need to answer to get credit. If they don't get full credit, I'll tell them why and they'll let them update that for grade improvement. Assignment rubrics are a little bigger, so I have a table here that they can see. It's linked both in the general syllabus, but also with each assessment. Each assessment has the rubrics linked directly in those two, so the descriptions have this. And this is the rubric for the final project. For this, students also fill it out as a self-assessment when they turn in their final work along with all their supporting documents, and so they also reflect on what they did and how they can do better. For grades, I can fill out general graded areas and individual comments, and I try to say what they did well, but also how they can improve and then support them on how to do that. So that's for 5.1 and 5.3. For Padlets, you'll see we create community. So we meet lots of things with Padlets, 5.2, 5.3, 5.5, and 5.6. We create community, like in the Say Hello Padlet, I respond to, so we post and respond to each other. We ask questions. I'll often have students respond to each other first, and then I will answer them after. And then for iterative assessments, we have lots of different check-ins. So this was a logo research post where they researched a company and logo, and then they responded to a peer and created a logo redesign in response. So these are kind of long posts. There's one redesign, for example. Then they created logo ideas via sketches for their own logo and business card, and it could be for a made-up company or an existing one. So they got feedback from classmates and then from me. Then they did digital drafting of the same thing. So feedback from classmates and then me. And then for their final works each week, they have a weekly reflection. With this, they self-assess. They talk about where they struggled, and how they could see using the skills in the future, and they showcase some of their work from what they did. So this was right after they finished that assessment, and I respond to that too. It's a good temperature check for me. That's it. So as you can see, I have things in multiple places, and I hope that this covered everything you needed.